Great. So you can see at Agile Cymru, one of the things we do is we don't have regular keynotes, we don't do thought leaders, right? We prefer thinking. As Fran said, we aim to be the best learning experience for Agile in the UK. So we do different keynotes, right? We've had psychologists and comedians and you name it, right? So, but this year we've hit a bit of a snag, and this is the first year we've hit a snag, in that our keynote presenter hasn't turned up. Right, okay, thanks man. So yeah, so they're either late or not coming or not, I don't know what, which is why we've been kind of waffling a bit.
Speak for yourself.
So, so I don't know what I'm going to do. Okay, it's a problem. Isla, what are you doing? You're meant to be at school? I have got a problem. I've got no keynote speaker. It's a big problem.
Don't worry, I've got one.
What do you mean?
Ladies and gentlemen, I proudly present to you St. Mary's Primary School Coding Club.
Before we start, which one is this? Bear with us 2 seconds.
Loops. Have a quick doodle while you're waiting. Wait a new head.
Good.
Excited.
So we clear some of these planes out of your way.
Yeah.
We do that while we're waiting. Why don't you guys grab all the planes and put them by Fran over there?
Yeah.
Do that for me?
Over here.
Right, scroll on the front.
Yeah.
Yeah, scroll on the front, even better. Definitely better on the chest than you guys were.
Very keen. Very keen. Oh, let's get it. Ready? Thank God. Whose idea was it? But I was doing it so right. You are very good.
What's your chance?
Well done, guys. Well done.
Okay, so we are St. Mary's Coding Club. And we're from St. Mary's Primary School, and we age from 7 to 11. Every week we meet for an hour to discuss our favourite coding, try out some coding, and show our coding to others. Some of us are digital leaders. That means in our school we help with the ICT. We vary from different types of coding, as we will show you later. We're very lucky to have the resources that we need, such as each class has 8 iPads each, Year 6 have Chromebooks for themselves, the whole school has 30 laptops, their own Chromebooks, and 6 Apple Macs. We like to promote ICT as much as possible so every child gets a chance to use it. So some of the devices that we use are the Lego-based robots that we were given. There are 3 of them. We use Scratch, which is one of our favourites. We use Hub, and every child has a Hub login, and every week each child spends 30 minutes to do a project on Hub. We use microbit to make patterns. We also use Crumble, and each class from 3 to 6 uses Google Classroom so it can help them with their homework at school and at home.
In St. Mary's, we like to create projects to be proud of on Scratch. We can show them to the rest of Coding Club, or if we're a school member, show them to the rest of the school community. You can make simple projects or really complex projects on Scratch, and it shows how amazing things can be made from working hard. In St. Mary's, we use Hub, specifically J2E. In Year 6, we spend half an hour making a Hub project, which is normally a parking game, which whenever you hit a car, the car beeps. Many things can be made out of coding on J2E. You can do logo making to making presentations out of code. All ages in the school use this. As reception a few weeks ago, we're using J2E to decorate a line. And year 1, we're using J2E to make a bar chart about their favourite animals. We were lucky enough to be given 3 fantastic robots. We coded them and tested them and showed what we could do. The digital leaders and the code club members made all the robots. It took several weeks, but we worked hard and we got there in the end. We will show you a live demonstration at the end of the presentation.
Here are some pictures of us making the robots, and we coded them. There were about 2,310 Lego pieces that we used, and it was a long progress. It took us about 4 weeks to make, and a lot of lunch times.
How we work. In our coding club, we like to pair program. We pair program so that we can code more efficiently, and it helps us to decrease mistakes. When we pair program, we have one person on the iPad and we have one person on the Chromebook coding. This helps us to code more efficiently and decrease mistakes. We show our work at the end of the session and we share our thoughts.
How we plan. We've written down what we need to do, evaluate them, and work our way up to doing it. This makes it easier for us to do and more of a challenge. We test it after we've done it to see if it works. We chose coding because we like to help younger children, and it's a good skill to use in the future for future jobs. It's fun and it's creative, and it's good to use more ideas. We will now show you a live demonstration of our work. Thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions?
So how long have you all been coding together then?
About a year?
Yeah.
And what's the thing that you find most enjoyable about it yourself?
I like the thought of just sharing our ideas and getting improvements and feedback from others.
And your coding is amazing as well. Wow, brilliant.
I really like how when we code, if we make a mistake, there are loads of other people who can help us. And when we code, it can make something amazing. For example, the Lego Boost do various things such as beatboxing, dancing, and so many other things.
I like helping other children, and you also get to show your work to your classmates and the other people in coding clubs, so it's really fun. Anyone else?
Are you available for hire?
I told you we turned it into a job fair now.
Sorry, there's too much Bluetooth going on. I'm trying to connect someone's phones. Okay. Is it going to hit that now? You're right.
Who becomes the master?
We're back in a bit. Remember. A bit close. Right, we'll do it one more time, only because they practiced this, and it's meant to be like synchronized swimmers. Let's try again, okay? Count down together.
So, bit of fun, right? Good, some interesting stuff in there. So let's cast our minds back to Agile Cymru 2016. We had a keynote speaker, her name was Katrina Douglas. If you were here then, you would remember she talked about narrative and how narrative can be both a useful and a detrimental thing to us, right? And the narrative is about the stories that we tell about ourselves and how we frame who we are. And she talks about performance narrative and a few other different types. What interests me about the narrative here is that there is none. They are a completely blank canvas. So pair program was fine, no problems with pair programming. They worked in very small units of work. They did them one at a time, and they didn't get overburdened by excessive demand of building other dances or other robots or other things at the same time. Right? Idyllic for me, that would be. So they are, and what's really interesting about that is if you change that, if you look at the organisations that you're in currently, if you take a moment just to think about the companies that you work for or have worked for, and how they're structured and how that organisational hierarchy ties together, and that you've got roles and responsibilities, and then you play it against that and realise that there are no roles and responsibilities in this group. They're just people with skills. And some are better and some are worse, and some have got different skills and some have got, there's variation. But they're all helping each other. There's no departmental hierarchy, there's no silos, there's no poor service design where you've got bottlenecks over here and bottlenecks over there and you're trying to force as much work through it as possible. And I think that's really interesting because if we could have Scrum teams that were perfect, they would look a bit like that. They would be completely autonomous, they would be completely without narrative, they would be completely without definition that we constrain on them as an organisation. So, I worked with a company recently who had an illness rate, right? And 54% of that illness, they were measuring their illness rate here, 54% of that illness was related to stress. And that's simply because of an overburdened system that doesn't work. They are not managing their flow. Right? They're not looking at their whole organisation as an organism, as a system of work. And so what's happening is nothing is getting serviced, no work is really getting done. Lots of busy people, but no real output that is useful, no good outcomes. And it's a hugely overburdened system. So there's always more to do, there's always 10 programs that need doing, they're always all on the go, all at the same time, and actually the system doesn't have capacity to deal with it. And so people get stressed because they don't feel like they're adding value, and they get stressed because they can't do what they want to do, and they get stressed because they've got bureaucracy and hierarchy, and it means that they are struggling to get value done. And so they go off sick, and then they come back and they get put in some other department, it's not like go back to the department you're in. And so what I want you to think about, we're going to finish a little bit early today. The team probably won't be at half time, but what I want you to think about is, as leaders, managers, future managers of the organisations that you work in, or will work for, how are you going to change that system so as you don't do that 54% of stress levels to them? Right? Don't start. So, Scott's there, right? And that's why I do the job that I do. That's where my passion is I want to make the systems work for people, because I don't really care about what it is that's being built as much. I care about building organisations and systems that allow work to flow and allow people to feel happy about their work and not go off with sickness and stress and everything. So that's kind of what I wanted you to take away from this session with the kids, is that when you go back to work and then people go, well, we can't do that because it's nonsense. It's just made up rules that we've imposed on ourselves. It's a narrative that we've imposed on ourselves, and we are fully responsible for changing that narrative and making systems work. Thank you very much.